Welcome back, everyone, to Tarot Journeys with Guy. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well out there. Now, this is take 2 for me. I just finished recording for an hour and realized that I wasn't recording. Ha ha ha. So, joke's on me. Yeah, so I took a little break and I thought, okay, I'm going to do another one. I did a whole reading, and it just is such a good lesson. Like, don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. No matter how much we're feeling sidetracked, and just don't give in and don't give up. Okay, so super important. This week, so much has been going on. It's been quite a bit, and let's just say, just keep your eyes peeled. It's there to show us and expose to us the truth, and to activate us and to get us mobilized and communicating and dialoguing and seeing past the propaganda war that's being sort of waged against us, because there's been so much stuff. I mean, we saw China Joe with his communist captured California, waving flags, Chinese communist flags to welcome President Xi, and then there was a business meeting and everybody's applauding, and Blinken going off, getting all cringed out because Joe Biden calling President Xi a dictator. And it's kind of like, wow, well, he would know, right? Because, these guys are dictators as well. So that's like really interesting stuff, right? And again, underneath the scenes of it, they're trying to pass regulation laws around the internet, and we're just seeing these guys come out of the shadows, like Nikki Haley going on about how everybody should lose their anonymity if they want to be on social media, and the New York governor talking about surveillance and surveilling people and trying to, deflect the hate crime. And the thing is, you guys are promoting it, right? So yeah, there's just so much stuff. What else happened? Just so much stuff. I mean, we got to really kind of stay sort of on point, because it's all ammo for us, like everyday people, and the talking and the communicating with other people. And also part of our job is to expose these guys and to sort of be active in sort of our everyday lives in negating some of this stuff, because the illusion is kind of dropping in some ways, even though it's sort of being amplified and picked up. The division is crazy. It's amazing how quick the world got divided, but it's not surprising. And for us that kind of see sort of the other sort of angle of it and kind of see past the lies, it's important to sort of be sort of present, okay? These guys are panicking. The deep state are panicking. They truly are. They're running out of sort of room to sort of maneuver, I guess. And that's why we're seeing the sparking of global conflict in many ways. The power groups are sort of forming. A new sort of geopolitical situation is forming, but it's fully contrived, and they're all double dealing, and they're making deals. And, it's just one system versus the other, and the people have to call them out on it, right? And not get caught in the fog of war, as it were, right? But this is what we're going to see. We're going to see people caught up on both sides of the fence, especially with this Israeli Palestinian thing. Yeah, the lies that are being perpetuated with this. And then you get sort of an image of, like, people, the everyday people on both sides of it, and it's so terrible. And you don't want any part of it, right? And that might be also why it's there, is to kind of keep us, it's like shock and awe, it's like too much. So people want to kind of recoil. They want to get away from it. The UK has fallen apart. The government is just in shambles again, right? We see so much playing out. There was a really good interview with the Spanish opposition leader and with Tucker Carlson, and what's happening in that country, and how the Socialist Party is in the prime minister, the supposed prime minister, is basically taking over and destroying the rule of law. And this guy's calling him out. He's basically complete World Economic Forum, globalist controlled agent. But the thing is, the Spanish Civil War is such a good lesson for what's going on now. And really just shows how division and eye for an eye and vengeance creates more conflict and more hate. And in the tail end of that whole thing, after 40, 50 years, and people were actually able to talk about it, what was exposed was how much violence both sides perpetuated in that conflict. So what's going on in Spain is sort of like a window to what's going to happen here in Canada, what's going to happen in the States, so many ways, right? So that was really interesting and definitely worth looking into, okay? So yeah, we're going to jump into this. We're going to just look, see what we need to know, what do we need to hear, what guidance is going to help us, and yeah, let's go. This card here in the middle is sort of like coming to terms. It's kind of a nostalgia card, actually, the Six of Cups. And it's kind of interesting. I was picking that up in readings weeks before about how they were going to utilize, or how that nostalgic feeling or things from the past were going to be brought up to the present. Okay, now we saw this with the, letter to America from Osama bin Laden, or supposedly from Osama bin Laden, and how, like the TikTok audience, because it became viral on TikTok, but where a lot of younger people kind of glommed onto this and basically justifying supporting terrorism through this and supporting this scenario, right? But the thing is like and you hear these people in the media and stuff, and these kind of normie types that don't really get it and don't really believe that like 9/11 was an inside job, like don't really believe that Osama bin Laden was trained by the CIA. Right, but when you start to equate that, it sort of makes sense, and you kind of have to come from that point of view, right? Because we've been lied to for so long that, of course, stuff like this is going to come out and going to be utilized in this war effort, because it is a propaganda war, right? And we're in the destabilization phase of their insurrection or their global coup, where they have to destabilize the social order, the establishment, in order to sort of insert the revolution, insert the sort of the change of the Great Reset, or this new sort of thing with what they're trying to do, the deep state, totalitarian, globalist, death cultists that are perpetuating this stuff. So they're drawing from the past and digging up stuff, just as like our side of it is digging up the past and utilizing it for this battle, right? And not to sort of kind of give into, what's going on. For many of us, we sort of understand, like, holy cow, they've been exposed, okay? Part of the destabilization is to crash the economy, okay? That is a big part of, and that's why we got this things here. But the thing is like, they want to attack individual rights, like the right of the individual and the freedom of the individual and the private property of the individual, and right, and that's a big part of the whole socialist mindset, is to nationalize everything, is to put everything in the hands of the people. But it won't go into the hands of the people. It'll go into the hands of a dictatorship. Okay, so, right, this is kind of the aim. This is what they're doing. So, right, and it's kind of the same thing, like in the truth community and stuff. The Patriot side are also bringing up information that kind of talks about this kind of deep state machination of creating this agenda to put us into a position of a global dictatorship. And like what is it, on the 22nd of November will be the 60th anniversary of the assassination of JFK. Okay, and that's another one where the truth community, the Patriot side of it, have had to come to the truth on their own without the evidence from classified documents and things, because a lot of things, like when things came out and whistleblowers came out, people already knew all this stuff. Okay, and it's kind of the same thing, right? And when you kind of, actually, it's so funny, right? So you draw back 60 years of this deep state coup, 60 years. So it's easy to see now how they've been getting away with it. And that's the point of it, is to kind of recognize that and to bring it out into the light. Okay? Because yeah, they want to chip us. They're already talking about putting chips in people for their digital wallet. They're getting ready for the digital currency. And, and the threats, like, I mean, they always do that. They prime the populace with like the sort of the threat or the fear of it first, and then they implement it, right? It's kind of like we saw the FBI director in Congress basically saying again how the United States needs to be on guard because there's going to be an attack. That these people are in our countries, these terroristic Islamists, Hamas types, and they're in our country. Well, you're putting them there, right? So you're basically priming the populace, and so when it happens, they're already sort of accustomed to it. But you've already told them that you're going to do it, so you're karmic. There's no karma on you in perpetuating this, right? And so in that, right, that's what they're doing. They're absolutely doing this. But we are winning. We are winning, and we have to kind of keep sort of moving in that way, sort of in that recognition that yes, things are being exposed. Like, I mean, man, they're human trafficking, child trafficking rings are being exposed little by little by little by little, and people are starting to get it. They're not going, oh, this is a conspiracy theory. This is like actual. Yeah, it's almost like their efforts aren't fully working, so they have to kind of like step back a bit and kind of reel it in. And we might see that with the Israel situation. They might reel it back a little bit, or there might be some kind of resolution coming up, because this sort of war of annihilation and this all-out kind of campaign to sort of get rid of Palestine is not working for Israel, okay? And the Western nations, enough people are wise to this thing of them wanting to displace all of these people and push them into Europe and into North America and into Canada. And there's enough people that are they're saying, no, we can't have these people here. Not in this way. So you've got this scenario of a forever war, this forever conflict, this forever religious strife. But it doesn't work if people are wise to the machinations of and the manipulations coming from the top and coming from these people that organize it. And it's when the people start to sort of rise up and say, no, look, you are corrupted. But it has to come from this other place of nonviolence, right? And peaceful sort of accord. But what do you do when people aren't seeking peace? And that's what we're seeing with Israel and Palestine. Neither side want peace anymore. The machine is moving forward. There's no way to stop it but through people's awareness. Like, are the people in Israel aware of how much division this has created worldwide? Are they? Are they aware that they are becoming the enemy of the world? Are they? They should be. I bet you any money they're not. Bet you any money it's censored, this kind of information. In fact, I know it is. It's censored here, so why wouldn't it be censored there? But that's the kind of thing that they need to understand. Right? It's a trap. It's essentially a trap for everybody that's involved. And the only thing that it's going to result in is more death, more destruction, and more totalitarianism. I know, I get it. Like, you want to support these guys like the Republicans, but how do you support this stuff? How can you support it when we know that like 80% of these politicians, if not more, are in the pocket of the Davos Group and the World Economic Forum and the deep state? on both sides. So what do you do, right? So that's kind of what's going on. Okay, yeah, caught by the devil's machinations. All right, let's see. Let's see what else comes up. We'll just do this spread. This card again, we've got actually a couple of cards. So the Ace of Cups, the heart. The heart path. How the heart path, the path of heart, and when people engage the path of heart, how that alters the energetic field of everything around it. Okay, and how when people, instead of trying to see what is going on through their, like the mind, which has been scrambled, but to see through the heart, you'll get to the truth of the scenario, and you'll start to see that the division on one side or the other, wherever it is, either side, this is not the place you want to be. The place is in the middle. And I'm not talking about centrist politics, and I'm not necessarily even talking about politics. I'm more talking about just energetically being in that space and sort of experiencing the wholeness of being, right? That alters the field. That alters the scenario, right? And people can hear the calling because we're being called. All of us are being called to wake up, to move, to act, to do whatever it is that we are being directed to do, right? And our calling is being sort of shown to us. And so it's so cool. Like, some people are really sort of moving and thriving in this time. They're moving with the energy. I mean, some people have really opened up, right? And that's the thing. If people are hurt and damaged, they can't see truth. It's not possible. You're only going to see the world through the lens of the pain that you feel. And that's why I always talk about like the shifting of the world ages and the astrological ages and galactic time, in the sense of civilization moving through the zodiac as the solar system and the Earth moves around the central bulge of the galaxy and does its major motion. The zodiac acts as like a blueprint and sort of leads us to sort of understand where humanity is moving towards and where we're moving from, and what is the next phases of it. And so we're moving out of the age of Pisces and moving into the age of Aquarius. Our lifetime has a lot to do with seeding the next civilization or the next zodiac age. And that's how I've always seen it. That's what is sort of taking place. And that, in a way, when people access that, that's what hinders their plans. That's what destroys the deep state, is when people are activated in this way. And so that's a huge thing, is like us following our heart path. They want a regional war. They want to conscript people. They want to build up the military. This is kind of like in the States, especially right now. And that might be part of sort of like the next phase is kind of like creating the scenario of the forever crisis, the forever war, and having people always mobilize towards it. And this is what this is talking about, is mobilizing people in another way and seeking like the healing that is required to see truth. And right, and just to kind of clear the manipulation and to clear where people are at, right? It's just like a lot of this stuff is to totally distract us. And so underneath of it, they're getting away totally with the depopulation COVID thing and how much damage that's caused. And they're pushing for the digital currency and the enslavement factor of humanity. And right, so if you know what their motive is and you know what their plan is, it's easy to disable it. It's easy to sort of disengage it, right? So we all have to do this. I've been practicing this. It's like seeing people and the world together and helping each other and friendly and kind and loving and seeing peace and being in peace and living peace, right? And like and visualizing that and praying for it and being in that mode and silencing my mind and stopping whenever I get overwhelmed and whenever things become too much, because that's the whole point, is to kind of really throw us off, to frazzle us, like this reverse Queen of Cups, right? She's normally, when she's the right way up, she's very in her own power, very intuitive, very psychic, connected to spiritual source. She is our spiritual source in some ways. And right. But when she's frazzled, this is like mental illness. This is being completely fractured emotionally and spiritually. And that's the state they want people in. And that's what we're fighting. That's what we spiritualized people, especially like ones that I'm talking to at home, that's where our front line kind of exists in some ways. I've been practicing going out into the world and keeping my mind kind of clear and just being like, okay, any kind of negative, intrusive thoughts, I say no to. And it's like judgments on people. And it happens really quick. And sometimes I don't always register. And then I get caught up in this chain of, judgment. And I'm going around and in my mind judging people. And I know people do this, right? I know this is what people do. And it's very common. This is very kind of simple stuff, right? But it's like creating the opposite affirmation in my mind, the opposite thought. And especially from where I'm talking about right now, is sort of like I reinitialize it by like kind of reminding myself, like we're all one. We all come from that one source. And it helps sort of disengage that. And because if you pay attention, like your first moments in the morning or whatever, but day to day, you're manifesting, you're creating your world by the thoughts you're holding and how you think them. And it becomes this chain and this wheel, I guess, and the wheel starts to spin and it becomes harder and harder to stop, right? And that they're utilizing this. They're preying upon people with this. Paying attention to what is coming in and out of the mind is really important, because a lot of what we're thinking, it's not our own thoughts. And I'm not talking necessarily like we're being beamed psychotronically. Some of us maybe, we don't really know that it is happening. But more importantly, how the human condition works and how the negative aspect of ego, or when ego is out of balance and distorted, this is the kind of circumstance. And you have to kind of take a step back and to take that apart and reprogram the mind with this more of like affirming and empowering thoughts, and just not closing our hearts, and being sort of really conscious of like not to close your heart to the world, and keep yourself safe and be wise to what and who and all of that, what's around, and what you're connecting with. But don't close your heart. Don't sour the heart. Find the sweetness and the joy within the heart. Because if you want to know how to battle these guys, that is how the best way to do it. They can't do anything about that. They can't even come near you. It's impossible when you've engaged that fully for the dark side to approach. Yeah, and you start to sort of see clear how to sort of unravel some of this and why it's there, right? And like what's the purpose behind some of this stuff, and I don't know, and then healing, genuine healing sort of takes hold, and it's wonderful. And I really do believe that that's where we're heading. We're heading into this direction where we have a beautiful opportunity to release a lot of what the last 6,000 years has presented to us, which is largely a dark age in many ways. And so we have that opportunity and to move into the next ages sort of clear and in a better way. And that's sort of like one of the prophecies of, especially with astrology, or one of the things that the teachers in that area have talked about, is how we're to move towards that time where people see the unity of humanity and our connection to everything, and how the past can be healed. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and leave a like. It really helps. And wherever you are, please take care. And I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.